And this can be accomplished. There's a process that we learned with Swami's guidance, and that works really well. And it was once upon a time in one of the USA Psi newsletters where it was first presented, and then presented at Psi retreats thereafter. This was in the 80s. So before we get into all of that, which we'll be learning together and practicing together, does anybody have a question? Because I am here to entertain questions. I'm going to make it bright, the light brighter while you're thinking about your questions, if you have any.
Adam, brother.
Yes.
I heard something during the last month before we finished the meditation with you, and now we're starting again, that when you listen to the space between thoughts, and that is the real truth that you want to achieve. And I found that very interesting because the space between thoughts, and since then I've been trying to look at that space between the thoughts, and what that saying said was, as we focus on that space between thoughts and try to increase that space, then you really understand the truth, or the thing that we are trying to realize through meditation, the true self. And so what were your thoughts on that? And it seemed to me like when we say mantras or say Gayatri, there are pauses in between, and those pauses are really nice to focus on. They're very joyful to focus on when you do that. There is some secret here, I felt, and I thought if you had any thoughts on it, if you can share that.
Wonderful. So that's a great question. And Swami has talked about this a little, and you're spot on. The space between thoughts is the silence that's always behind the mind. So we tend to focus as human beings on that which is apparent. It grabs our attention. So in the world, when we're looking at things, we see the material objects. We don't see the light that's emanating from them. There's light emanating from them all. Nor do we see or experience the source of that light that's emanating without extreme spiritual practice and effort and intensity. So an easy way to experience the absolute is to pay attention to, as you're expressing, the space between thoughts, which there always is. So it's similar to when you go to see a movie, or when we used to go to theaters, and when we used to have white screens instead of advertising screens or blue screens. The white screen would be there, and we would wait for the movie to start. And if we came early enough, we just stood at sat and looked at the white screen. Similarly, that white screen is always behind the drama of the movie. Once it starts, the movie starts, we get caught within the movie. Within a few minutes, we're all caught up in the drama of the movie. And we forget about the white screen that was behind it. But the white screen's still behind it all the time. As a matter of fact, the movie is an illusion projected onto the white screen, which is more of a reality than the movie. So similarly, we have all our thoughts and feelings, all the activity of our mind is a projection upon the omnipresent silence that is behind those thoughts and feelings, and which without, we would not perceive the thoughts and feelings. So without the white screen, you can't see the movie. Without the silence behind the thoughts and feelings, you wouldn't be able to perceive the thoughts and feelings. That white screen, that silence is God. That is the unmanifest absolute. So if we start paying attention to that silence between the thoughts and feelings, then it broadens. Then the thoughts and feelings have less space and the silence has more space. And that's called sadhana. That's sadhana. Now, this is the yani path of sadhana. This is extremely important to be aware of. The way to a boost, what is yani? That just means wisdom. You know what the truth is. You know that we are the unmanifest absolute in human form. How do we know? We know that we're not the body, we're not the mind with its thoughts and feelings and the lens that we experience the world through, until we let that go and stay in the silence. As Swami says, silence is God. Silence is the voice of God. It's through silence yogis speak to each other. Yogis speak through silence. God speaks through silence. That silence is God and the source of that silence, actually. So the fact of the matter is, when we are paying attention to that silence, the thoughts and feelings take perspective. They're the waves upon the surface of the ocean of silence. That's yani. To boost yani, wisdom, we have to have bhakti. You can't do one without the other. It's not possible. So to get to the point when we say, aha, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm the silence behind the mind, I am the absolute, the unmanifest reality, the self that witnesses the three states of consciousness, waking, dreaming, and sleeping, and the fourth state, meditational consciousness. That self is the same self through all these states. There's nothing else but that. To get to that, you have to have bhakti. There's no other way. You have to love God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, in name and form, or in formless, either way. But it's so much easier to love the form. Swami's form was incredibly sweet and, like Krishna, incredibly attractive and enhancing. And you look at Swami, and if you could remember when you looked at Krishna, it's just like your mind just goes blank. It stops because the attraction through that form of Satya Sai Baba, of Krishna, of Rama, is beyond the comprehension of the mind. And it just calms the mind. It goes beyond the mind to the point that the mind can't experience what the heart is experiencing. So it just stops. Then people all the time, especially in an interview room, would say, I had a question, I couldn't even think of it. Or Swami asked me something and I had no idea what to say. I just sat there. All the time people would say that because they were beyond their mind. So what do you do when you're beyond your mind? You're being one with the absolute in human form. The absolute in human form, us, is being one with the absolute in human form, Swami. But we don't know it and he knows it, and all he's bringing us to that. That's the glory of God on earth. That's the grace of Krishna, of Rama, of Jesus, of Sai Baba, of all the great saints and sages that have ever walked the earth in oneness with the absolute, when there have been many. But when God comes in human form, there's an extra added boost. If you love God in human form, then you want to follow God's teachings to the best of your ability. And we all fall down. There's absolutely no doubt that we'll stumble and fall and make all the mistakes human beings can make in the process. And that's okay. Swami never said we had to be perfect. He didn't say we had to even be perfect to have his love. He didn't even say we had to be perfect to have freedom and full liberation. He never said that. He just said, do your best. I'll do the rest. So in that regard, when we're following Swami's teachings with our full heart, because we love him so much, we want to follow his teachings. And we keep correcting ourselves, because we're human beings and we have human natures, and that means we have attachments and desires, and we have stumbling blocks, and we have our experiences from the past and the residue of them and the traumas We have all this stuff, but we let it go. Place it at your feet, Swami. I place it at your feet. And Swami always said, just hold on. You know, like that song, when dark clouds fill your skies, hiding sunshine from your eyes. Say his name, see his form, hold on. Never let go. And we used to say around Swami, we're never letting go, Swami. You could do everything you want to us. We're never letting go. And he would shake us like a tiger would shake a cub at times. He would really throw some stuff at us through many different experiences in the ashram. The ashram, oh my God. You know, Sai Baba's ashram was like going into the washing machine and getting tumbled around. I mean, he even said the Seva dolls at times, I don't know if you ever experienced this, any of you, but the Seva dolls at times was so mean. They were incredibly mean. And they would, you know, be so strict. The first time I went to Prashanti Nilayam was 1978. And I arrived in the evening, so I didn't get to darshan. And then the next morning, I arrived at, well, actually, I did have a Thursday. I had an evening darshan, but I was in my street clothes, you know, whatever. I didn't know I didn't know anything. I just sat there and watched Swami. The next morning, I went at 5 a.m. into the mandir, and at that time, Swami lived in the mandir, so he was in the upper part of the mandir. In the room he had, and you couldn't see him, but you knew he was there. And we had the Omkar and Suprabodham, and I came into the hall, you know, very dutifully. I got in the middle of the mandir. It was a really nice seat, and I went just like that. You weren't allowed to make even that sound. And I didn't know it. And the Seva dolls, they came up, both of them. Now I'm a big guy. I'm not a light guy. I mean, at the time, I wasn't as big as I am now, but I weighed a good 160 or 150. And they picked me up like I was a feather on either side of me and threw me out of the hall. And all I could think was, oh my God, I'm here in God's kingdom, God's home, and they threw me out. And that was the beginning. But, you know, Swami just laughed at all that. It was just such a surprise. But basically, Swami said one time, somebody said in an interview room, I'm afraid of the Seva doll. He said, so am I. So, you know, he was just very compassionate. But he always said, I have the ashram going exactly as I want to do exactly what I want it to do. It's just perfect the way it is. He never wanted it to be a calm, gentle, peaceful place. It was a washing machine. It tests you all the time. So we get these tests of our love, and we get these tests of our ability to do our sadhana and stay with the name and form. And to love gives power and energy to our wisdom, our ability to see through the maya of the mind's illusions. And the truth of it is, the more love you got for Swami, the more unconditional love you can manifest for Swami, the more unconditional love you can manifest for all humanity and all beings, the more wisdom comes into your experience when you meditate. So the path of meditation is love and wisdom. Love brings wisdom. Love brings wisdom. So while we're meditating, if it's hard to go from your forehead to the top of your head, love more. Bring more love. That's like the rocket fuel that boosts you into the kingdom of heaven and beyond, to infinity and beyond, because God is beyond everything, but is in us as much as everywhere else. Remember, God's omnipresent. So Swami says, you are God. You are not different from God. You are the indivisible supreme absolute. Sat Chitananda, truth, consciousness, bliss. Grief and anxiety can never affect you. Fear can not enter you. You are ever content. He says it, say it as an I statement. The reason he says, say, I am God, I am not different from God, in that affirmation, is because the mind has been brainwashed into materiality. From when we were born, We get a name. This is who you are. We have a family to identify with, a religion to identify with, a race to identify with, intelligence to identify with or not, or skill to identify with later or not. We get all these labels, and we're not any of that. That's not who we are. We're not any of that stuff. How many mothers and fathers have you had in the 1,000 lifetimes you so far lived? Can you remember any of them? How about the brothers and sisters and the sons and daughters? Can you remember any of them? And they're so important in our lifetime. But you've had thousands of lifetimes, 1,000 at least. So now we're all graduating, thank God. So I'm kind of tired of coming here already. But a great, great, great yogi named Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar, who Swami sent me to in secret, actually, and my wife. He told us both to go there in secret. At different times, he would tell us, like, secretly go see Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar. He was in Tiruvannamalai. He said upon his passing in 2010, great yogi, oh my God, Swami loved him, and he loved Swami. He loved Swami so much, he named his dog Sai Baba, so that he could remember Swami all the time. He would call Sai Baba, Sai Baba, Sai Baba, come. So anyway, he was a very funny guy. He was a professor in a university in Delhi, in the Delhi area. And then I think it was in the Delhi area. And then he kept going into trances. So they put him in a mental hospital. His in-laws, they put him in a mental hospital because he kept going into trances. So then Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar, he convinced the psychiatrist that he was perfectly okay. It's just that he goes into trances. So they let him go. And then he went back to his family, his wife. He said, we need to leave this area. And she didn't want to. So he left. He left and he went to Tiruvannamalai. And along the way, he became, after many years, fully enlightened. And the fact of the matter is, he said upon his passing, now get this, he said, I will come back again and again and again as an enlightened being, or he would grow into that enlightenment each lifetime, because we don't start off that way as children. But I will come back again and again until the last grain of sand on the last beach is liberated. Now that is seva, selfless as can be. So I'm very happy that you asked this question about the space between thoughts, because it's a very, very profound question that has a very profound effect when paid attention to. Very important. I want to read a letter that Swami wrote to Hilda. Hilda was my gateway to Swami. She introduced Roseanne and I to Swami. And the first time I ever saw Swami in 1978 was by bringing Hilda and her students that she taught meditation to India. That was the only way I could get there. Now, Hilda was amongst the first Western devotees that ever met Swami. And she went and met Swami in, I think it was like November birthday time, just before Christmas in 1964, between Christmas and birthday time in 1964. And then she stayed with Swami for about a little more than a year and left before Shivaratri in 1966. And she left after Swami said, Hilda has no mind. A diamond is a very precious stone, but a diamond is the greatest treasure in the universe. And nobody had really heard that, except that he said it to Hilda, until he said it to Hilda, because she had done 18 years of sadhana in India, and probably about 20 years of sadhana before that, maybe a little less in America. So the fact of the matter is, when she was sitting there, because Swami said, no more births, Hilda. You're done. No more need. And she looked at Swami and said, Swami, you don't want me to be with you when you come back as Prema Sai Baba and help? And Swami said, okay. He looked in the distance and said, okay, Hilda, one more. So this is the letter that Swami wrote to Hilda on September 20th, 1969. And you can see it's with Swami's letterhead and everything like that. You can see the date there. And this is an authentic signature. It's not faked or anything. This was a real letter. I was lucky enough to have the original. And Hilda, here's what Swami said. Hilda, here with my blessings. I know all about the classes in dhyana and pranayama, which you are holding in New York. Convey my blessings to all who are attending and to all devotees there. Now, Hilda, I just want to interrupt. Hilda, upon Swami saying, you're free, you're done, she sat around, she said, what to do now, Swami? And he said, well, I'll give you cities. So she got all ready to get some cities the next day, and she thought that she'd be able to manifest rings or vibhuti or something like that. And Swami called her into the interview room and said, I am giving you 3 cities. And the 3 cities are Ananda City, Prema City, and Satya City. And she said, Swami, those aren't cities, those are qualities. And he said, if you want lesser things, go to a lesser teacher. And walked out of the room. And then she apologized to Swami. She said, Swami, later, I'm sorry, I didn't understand. He said, I have given you the greatest treasures that could ever be given. You have the ability to give Ananda to others. You have the ability to give love to others. And you have the ability to give truth to others. There's no greater cities than those. So she said, now, once she got the city, she was sitting around some more and she was watching everybody have darshan. And she's sitting on the veranda and she's going, okay, now what? Well, with the women at the time, wherever they sat, the women that were regulars. And so she went up to Swami at some point. She said, Swami, I would like, there's a bunch of people lost in America. They call them hippies and they're completely lost. They don't have any idea what they're doing and that God exists and how to get to God. They have no, can I go back and help them? And Swami blessed her to come back. He was very happy. And he blessed her to go to New York and help them. And I was one of those people. So I was really lost. And anyway, I got a t-shirt now that says old hippie, original old hippie, something like that, authentic hippie. Anyway, I was bad. So anyway, sadhaks must also cultivate love. This is Hilda. This is Sai Baba's words to Hilda. Sadhaks must also cultivate love and the spirit of selfless service. Success in dhyana and pranayama is to be measured not only by the betterment of physical and mental health, but more by the depth of equanimity gained and the extent of sympathy that wells up from the heart. Dhyana must reveal to the aspirant that all are entities in the same principle of existence, sat. All are concretized thoughts in the same consciousness, chit. And all are waves of the same sea of ananda, bliss. It is ignorance, the ego, that persuades each one to believe that others are separate and even opposed. It is this delusion that causes sorrow and makes man, and I'll add women, toss from pleasure to pain and from joy to grief, instead of being an unruffled spectator of them both. Seekers have to dive into themselves and discover the inner spring of bliss, the inner spark of immortality. They will look upon the universe as the body of the Lord and revere every single being and thing as sustained by God. Through loving thoughts, loving words, and loving deeds, they cultivate love towards God's handiwork and God. I always lay emphasis on love as the path to God. Let the eyes shed love as cool as moonlight. Let the heart saturated with love be soft as butter. Let the tongue urged by love speak sweet as honey. Dhyana on the supreme will bring about this transformation as more and more progress is made. My blessings are with all those who are making such spiritual effort. I bless that they may have steadfast faith. With blessings, Baba. So this is our goal. This is our path, equanimity and love, equanimity and love. And sympathy, empathy, compassion, that's the evidence of successful progress through meditation and spiritual efforts. Greater sympathy, greater love, greater compassion, greater equanimity, greater selfless service. So, anybody want any question before we go to the next stage of what we're going to do today? Yes.
Well, this is not a question, but you talk about Hilda and you bring up so many things for me because I was there too. And I just wanted to share with people one simple lesson of hers, because the kind of lessons that she gave us were so unique. And I think people would enjoy hearing what they were like. But one of my favorite lessons that she gave us was, say you're sorry. And she said, the answer in the universe to saying you're sorry is always positive. And she said, you cannot do wrong. Just say you're sorry. In any situation where you have conflict, say you're sorry. Now that was one lesson. And if you try it, it's miraculous. And another one she said is, treat your family like Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And she said, look at your neighbors, look at your friends down the street, treat your family like you would treat them. And they were wonderful little lessons. And she would give us these simple lessons, and they sounded so simple, but they were absolutely profound. And when you talk about cities, it was like, you forgot to knock.
Right, they're inside.
Oh,
So,
yeah. I miss her so much. And when you were talking, I could hear her voice.
oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
That's very sweet. She was, Swami sent me to take care of her until she passed on. In '88, she passed on. And I was her driver. And I lived in her house for 12 years. And before that, I was her student for 3 or 4. And while I was going to college and learning about Swami, and she taught me all about Swami until I got to Swami, which was wonderful experience. So what was the question? What was Hilda's? Oh, look here.
Someone asked what was Hilda's last name?
Charlton, Charlton. You could look her up on the web. And she was a fantastically close friend to Kasturi. Kasturi was her really best friend while she was living at Swami's. They understood one another very, very well. It was a nice friendship. Of course, it was very proper, as we would say, pucker. In the Western nomenclature of being in India, we always had to be pucker, according to Swami, be proper and appropriate with all things and people. So let's go into how to love unconditionally and forgive unconditionally, which is very, very important lessons to learn on this path. There's a perfect example of unconditional love that we pay attention to every single day of our lives, maybe even every minute or so of our lives. And that gift of unconditional love is appropriately modeled by the sun. The sun gives life, light, energy, unconditionally. Now, some people believe that the sun is the body of a great being who has been fully enlightened in past lives and now takes on that further development of evolution. And that is quite possible. I don't know that for sure. I do believe that's true, but it's obvious that even the physical form of the sun is an example of just giving infinite love and light unconditionally to all beings. And when we look up in the sky, we can see that process. Now, this is a beautiful thing. There have been pictures of people's auras through Russian Kirlian photography. And when a person is unconditionally loving, not between two people necessarily, but that's how it manifests a lot, like a mother for a son or a daughter, or some two best friends that are unconditionally loving, like Krishna and Arjuna, or that type of friendship. If there ever is another example of that perfect friendship. But the fact of the matter is, we shine, our aura shines, and when they take a picture of it, it looks exactly like the sun. As a matter of fact, it looks more glorious than the sun, if you can imagine that. Instead of it being white light, it's golden light. And the golden light that it is the golden light of love, unconditional. So we have that within us. And it's a reminder, the sun in the sky is a reminder of who we really are, unconditionally loving incarnations of God, the embodiments of love. And when Swami says embodiments of love, he means unconditional love. He means the perfect love. He means the love that is God, and that God is love. That's what he means when he says that. So we have the ability to manifest that. What stands in the way of us manifesting it? Very simply, the ego. The ego is supported by the mind. The ego is defended by the mind. The ego does not want to dissolve. It's been around for millions of years, perhaps. Sometimes less, but sometimes more. And it just doesn't want to dissolve. Doesn't want to let go. And when we do our spiritual sadhana, when we met Swami in this lifetime, that was the death march for the ego. The ego knew, uh-oh, I have a limited time here. I'm not forever anymore. I'm not going to survive. Now, it's a very insidious kind of manifestation, the ego. It's an illusion, complete illusion. But it's supported by the mind. And the mind says, this is mine and that is yours. This is me and that is you. This is that and I'm not. That's what the mind says. That's the basis of the mind. Separation, separation, separation. Me, mine, I did it, all that stuff. So we don't pay attention to that anymore. Now, yogis, they have a mind that's going on and saying these things. But the difference between a yogi who's deep in their sadhana and perhaps even on their first or second level of liberation and us is that they say, I don't care what the mind thinks. I'm not the mind. You can think anything it wants. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just the observer of that and I'm not that. Not this, neti, 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 neti. Neti. Not this, not this. Not the thoughts, not the feelings. And a true yogi on the path of true spiritual sadhana, and not all people who call themselves yogis are true yogis, that's for sure. Some are bogies. And the fact of the matter is, that true yogi just keeps going deeper, deeper, not this, not this, not this, not this, not this, till he reaches consciousness. And then he says, not this either. The source of consciousness. Consciousness is existence. Consciousness is manifestation. Consciousness is life. The source of life. I am that I am. The source of life. The source of the manifestation. The unmanifest. The source of the form. The source of the name. I am that I am. So we're going to do an exercise now. And this is an exercise of unconditional love and unconditional forgiveness. So if you get comfortable, make sure I'm going to look for my glass of water. So everybody's good right now, right? Any questions? We're good. So, okay, get comfortable. Get your backs comfortably straight. We're finally going to meditate. Sorry to take so long. But I wanted to prepare you for this because it's a big step. It's a quantum leap in your personal evolution and sadhana when you do this. So let's close our eyes. Let's go in. I'm going to meditate Om 3 times. And I want you to get comfortable so you won't have to move, so you can go beyond body consciousness by not having to move. Oh. Make sure you're all muted. Everybody's muted. Swami, we place ourselves lovingly at your feet. Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Please guide us. Please meditate within us. Please clear the way within us. We are helpless without you. With you, you do everything. We are you. Show us our way. Take us along. Clear the path. Ganesha, Ganesha, Ganesha. Help us achieve the reality which we already are. So let's go into our heart center and just for a moment, follow the breath just to center. So breathing in, breathing in, out, as if you have a nose in the center of your chest, where you point to yourself as me. Just follow our breath, and when the mind wanders off and you notice, no need to criticize or judge the mind, just come back gently, easily, and effortlessly. Just so breathing in, breathing out, which of course means I am that I am. So, center, let everything else go. Let the day go, let the week go, everything else go. So, it's all that matters right now. Now imagine that heart center you're breathing through is a 12-petaled lotus. It's beautiful. And as you breathe through it, it's opening, it's opening, it's opening in love. And revealing Swami sitting in or standing inside of it, or any name or form that you adore. Be any name form. Swami has said, I am all names and all forms. And love that form, love Swami. Note that that is God, your Ishta Devata, her inner deity, God in form. Love that form. Love that form with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your strength, all your soul this moment, as best you can. Picture the name, say the name in your mind, and picture the form of Swami. Start with the toes, work your way up right to the crown of his afro, or his hair, as you would call it. We used to call him Jimi Hendrix at the beginning. He didn't mind. He said, all names are mine, all forms are mine, just love me. Picture the beauty of his form. He said he never weighed more than 108 pounds. He was only 5 feet tall. Yet when we sat before him, he was huge, the glory of God on earth. Oh my, to get the opportunity to talk with Swami, even now, in dreams. What a delight, even now. So loving. All names of mine, all forms of mine. Jesus, Krishna, Buddha, Allah, Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu, Narayana, all embodiments of the same capsule. Human glory of God on earth. Love, love, love. Love him more and more. Say his name, see his form, hold on. Love more. Fill that heart with love till it's ready to burst. Fill that heart with love till it's ready to burst. God in form and formless. Formless and form. Form to form. Glory of God. Let it fill you. Let it fill this temple of the body. This love. Let it fill every cell, every atom. This universal love that we are. Manifested in this beautiful form we call Satya Sai Baba. Praying Sai Baba to come. He's already here. How, what a glorious day it is. He's a very young boy, by the way. not the one they're saying it is. That's not the one. Love, love, love. Don't let the mind come in and out. Don't let the mind split things up. It's only one love, one God, one humanity, one family, one light, one love, one unmanifest and manifested forms. Mind can't comprehend it, but the heart knows it. Just keep loving deeper, deeper, deeper. Golden light of love. Oh, in your heart and soul that shines through every atom of the body as it expands. It's the God in the form of the sun within you. Golden ocean of love within you shines brighter than 1,000 suns, Swami has said. Brighter than 1,000 suns within you is that light of love. Embodiments of love. Prema Swarupas. Love more. Let it go, let it go, let it go to the most you can. Don't let anything stand in the way of your true love within you for God. God is love, love is God. Let it go, let everything else go. Om Premananda. Om. Swami just corrected me. Premananda. Prema City, Shanti City, Ananda City. Those are the three cities Swami gave to Hilda. Prema City, Ananda City, and Shanti City. Home. They're the three cities within all of us. Be that love. Oh God, I'm yours, you are mine. Swami says to us all. We say, I am yours, Swami. He says, you are mine. We say, you are mine, Swami. He says, I am yours. It's just oneness of love. That's all it really is. Oh, don't let the mind come in and say anything else. Follow the heart. Heart's open. That's the doorway to the soul. Always one with God. Oh. Then that I am. Love more. Love more. Love more. Love like your mother loved you or your father loved you, or maybe you didn't have a good enough father or mother. Then love like God loves you because we are all breathing. What a gift of love that is. We're all breathing. All are living life on earth. What a gift of grace. Oh God, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The attitude of gratitude is the way to grace. way to God. Oh. So now your heart is as open as it can be this moment. Maybe a little more, but not much. Let go, let go. Now invite into your heart where Swami stood. Visualize, not where Swami exactly stood, because Swami's always there. Invite into your heart space, into your mind's eye, your most beloved family member or friend, the one you love most on this earth. There's a person, invite them into your heart, but don't let the love diminish. Share with them this expanse of love that you feel for God. Let it shine upon them. Let them be bathed in that same degree of love. Don't close the heart. Just because they hurt you or they're a human being or they made mistakes, doesn't matter. They are God in human form too. Just like you and me, Swami as well. God comes in many packages with many different qualities. Doesn't make one less than the other. God is God is God is God. That's all there is. Only that oneness of love. Love them. Love like you love Swami. Don't let the heart close. Shine that light of love upon them and then ignite the light of love within them as well. One love, one light, one God, one truth. Om. Let that heart open even more. That's God in there. Even though it doesn't look like God, it's God in a Halloween costume or in disguise, Swami would say. Just love God. The light that shines from their eyes is the same light that it's within Swami's eyes and within your eyes, my eyes, everybody's eyes. It's the same light of consciousness, same source of light. That light shining in everyone's eyes. Oh, I love you, Swami, in this form of my family, my friend. I love them. Embodiment of you, God. Oh. Now invite into your heart that this person passed through. Invite into your heart someone that you are a friend of or family member, but maybe you don't love them as much as others. Just invite them into your heart. Don't let the heart close when you see them in your mind's eye. That's the trick. Invite them into your heart. Invite them in and love them just as equally as Swami. Don't let the heart close. If it starts to close, just say, Swami, I love you. You do this within me. You're the doer of all. You love them within me. The heart starts to close and the pain that you feel from the experience of being in a relationship with them starts coming up. Say, Swami, I give you this pain to you at your lotus feet. You take care of it. Burn it up in the fire of love within me, within you, within us all. Let it go. Those sandbags are needed when we fly into God's heart. Let go. Om. This is God in disguise, just as much as God in Sai Baba's eyes. It's all the oneness of love. It's all me. says Swami. It's all me, says our beloved Satya Sai. There is no you or I. It's only Satya Sai. Only God. Two. So now, invite into your heart, let them pass through, let the light of love be with them. Now, let a strange acquaintance, a person that you sort of know, come into the heart space. See them in the same degree of loving light. Don't let the heart close. It's Swami in human form in disguise. That's all there is. There's nothing else. There's only God in every name and form. It's all what we call Satya Sai, but it's really the formless, unmanifest reality of who Satya Sai incarnated into. From. So the avatar is in everyone, not just Satya Sai's body. Avatar is in everyone. Everyone is an avatar. It may not come with 16 qualities, all 16, but still, there's nothing but God here. Love God, that form, that acquaintance, that friend that you kind of know, that family member that you have some relationship to, but you very rarely see. Co-worker, somebody you don't really think about much, but they're kind of nice, but that's about it. Kind of friendly, say hi, good morning, good afternoon. That's about it. How are you? That's about it. Love them. The same degree of love that you love your beloved form of God you adore. Sai, Baba, Krishna, Allah, Rama, Vishnu, Shiva, Buddha, Jesus, Moses, whoever it may be. They're all God, God, God. This being cannot be fooled any longer. Say to yourself, I can't be fooled any longer by these different forms of God. I know the secret's out. I know, Swami. I know. I'm not going to be tricked by the names and the forms that are many. I know it's all you. I know now. It's all love, 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 love. Love is God. God is love. That's all there really is. The sun shines on everyone. Full measure. Oh, my heart, this heart is God's heart, shining on everyone. Full measure. Say that to yourself. Letting it all go, Swami. It's you, it's you, it's you. Only you. Let that love shine upon that acquaintance, that family member from the distance, that co-worker. Let it shine. Don't diminish it. Let Swami within you love. God within you love. God within you do it. Oh, very good. So thank that form of God. Move into the next one. A person you have no feeling at all about. You just know they're there, but you never had a feeling toward them. You just know they're there. A person that you feel neutral about. Invite them in to have this experience of love, bathing in the ocean of love within you. God within you, loving them. them be bathed in the sunlight of love, equally to how you feel towards Swami, how you feel toward your beloved Ishtadevata. Om Ramakrishna, Ramakrishna, Ramakrishna Jai. Om. Om. Let Swami within you love them. Let God within you love them. Oh God, oh yes, oh yes. Swami. Om Hilda, thank you for all your loving teachings that you shared with us all back in the days when we didn't know a thing, and you knew Swami's love through you flowed like a river to the ocean. Thank you. Just love that person. Let them bathe in that sunlight of your love. God's love through your heart is God's love in you. You could say it's your love, even though it's not. It's God's love, but it does belong within your heart that God gave to you to share with all equally, unconditionally. Swami says, love all, serve all. Love all, serve all. This is the truth of that. Love all, serve all. Om. Beautiful. A little more towards that neutral person, that neutral being. It could be any being also, not necessarily a person. It could be the dog next door or the cat down the block. It could be the plant that sits in another person's yard. All beings of love. For all is love incarnate, the body of God. There's nothing else, nowhere else. All is God, everything, everyone, everywhere, all the time. It's only the Father, Mother, God. So many names and forms in this person who I don't even know, but I see. God bless you. God bless you. Light and love. Now, the quantum leap, which is so easy to take at this point, it's not such a leap. Invite into your heart space through your mind's eye. God bless that person who just passed through. God bless them. God bless them. Thank you. Invite into your heart space that person that gives you the hottest time on earth. That person you would call your enemy or whoever it may be. Don't diminish the love. Don't let that illusion of Maya say, oh, I have these feelings, this person did that, this person. Just God in human form teaching us how to love unconditionally. That's all they are. If we didn't have enemies, we would never be able to love unconditionally. It's easy to love those who love you. Love those who hurt you, hate you, or are deluded by that thought. Love them anyway. Love them this moment. Let them be shining in the light of love, the light of unconditional love that we feel towards Swami and all other beings now. Shine upon them too. Don't let the heart close because it'll tend to do it. It's just the mind doing it. Follow the heart. The heart is open like a child. Like you're looking at a kitty or a puppy or a beautiful baby. Love this person, this being, in that same degree of intensity, unconditional love. You are the sun in the sky. unconditionally shining love on all beings, the true you. Come on, you can do it. Just keep letting go into it. Oh God, the glory of forgiveness. Forgive them, for they don't know what they were doing. They didn't know who they were, and they didn't know who you are. They were deluded by the Maya of the material world. No more am I that. We are the love that shines like the sun. We are God's love shining through our hearts on everyone, including this person. Oh, God bless them. I forgive them. Forgive them. They didn't know. Forgive them. Swami has said the greatest thing any human being can do on earth is to love someone who has hurt them through the power of forgiveness. It's the greatest thing that any human being can do on this earth. Draupadi was a perfect example of that. Oh God, be the Draupadi, be the Arjuna, be that God in human form that is the embodiment of compassion, unconditional love, and forgiveness. Come on, Swami, take our hands, take our hearts, take our minds, take our thoughts, take our feelings. You flow through us, love through us, this being. Teach us how to be free right now, right now. Love it with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, everything you got, all your might. Love that person as God in disguise, as a so-called enemy, but we call it a frenemy because they're teaching us how to love unconditionally. What greater friend could do that? What greater good can happen on this earth than to love and forgive all that you got? Okay, God, good. I can feel it. I can feel it. Good, keep going. Don't stop. Love more, give more love. Shine like the sun, 1,000 suns. Shine upon them. Forgive them. They didn't know what they were doing. Who did they really hurt? Who is it that can be hurt? I am that I am. Selfless, unmanifest, unconditionally loving. Love incarnate. Who is it that can be hurt? Really? It's all God. Father, Mother, God. It's all God, God, God. As plain as the day. Only God, God, God. It's all God's play. That's all there is. Believe that. Oh God. Now let go of that person. God bless them. They shine with the light of God. May they shine with the light of God. Their behavior won't change. That's up to God, not up to anybody else within them. We can't change anybody. We can only change ourselves. But change ourselves we can. So let all that transmutation of the mind to love, let it happen. Let it merge in the heart's love. The mind bows to the heart's love, bows to God within as love. Let that love shine forth from you. Let it flow through you, from the tips of the toes to the top of the head. Such a great, wonderful sadhana that you've all practiced tonight. We've all practiced it together. Me too. Growing together to God's love. What a wonderful world it really is. Let it rise in you, fill you through, right to the top of the head. Every cell, every atom of you bathed in God's love and light, the gift from the angels of God. God's grace as Satya Sai Baba, we gathered together to learn how to love each other, love all, this is the way, love more. Let everything else go. God is God. Om. Breathe it from the third eye and the forehead. Let the sun rise at dawn to the top of the head at high noon. It's so easy when you love so much. Loved even your so-called enemies tonight. What a great moment it has been for us all. You accomplished what even Jesus took to accomplish in a lifetime. To love those who crucified him. What a great example of selfless love, unconditional love. You also, we all did it together. Let it all go. Don't take it back. Don't let the mind step in and take it back. Just keep surrendering to love. The ego will want to assert itself. That's why the mind starts coming up. Let the ego dissolve in the ocean of God's golden ocean of love. I am that I am. It's all Baba's grace, Baba's doing. It's all there is. Within each of us, it's only Baba doing everything all the time. Grace of God. High noon at the top of the head. Open that gate at the top of the head. An inch above the top of the head is the 8th chakra. It's the soul chakra. Let it open. Flow out like a fountain of love all around you. All around. Shining like the sun. The body's boundaries become transparent. You just shine out. Glory to God. Om. Be free. True you. Glory to God. It's a difficult moment in your sadhana, this moment in the meditation. If the mind starts stepping, say, Baba, I give you this mind. I give you these problems in my life. You take care of this. You do it. I surrender to you, Sharanagati, 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 Swami, Sharanagati, Satisai, Baba, Shirdi Sai, Satisai, Prema Sai, Baba, all one. Sharanagati, Baba. Let it all go. Glory to God. Glory to Satisai. Glory to God. Beautiful. Glory to Satisai. Glory to Shri Sai, Satisai, Prema Sai, Jai. The unmanifest, conscious, source of consciousness. I am that I am. God, God, it's all God, 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 as plain as the day. Only God, 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 in this body's only God's play. It's all God, 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 as plain as the day. Only God, 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 in this body's only God's place. This temple of love. We are temples of love, lighthouses of love, living on earth. God on earth. Love more. Give more love each and every moment of the day, and even the night. Even when we sleep, give more love in the dream world, in the deep sleep state, in the waking world. Give more love. Oh. Intention is everything. So breathing down, breathing back into this body, this temple, bringing this consciousness of awareness, of love, back into the temple of the body, breathing it back into the heart center, the altar in that body, breathing it back in, coming back in. Take your time. Coming down in, coming down in, coming down in, coming back in. Take your time. Breathing back into this temple of the body, into the altar of the heart. The eternal flame on that altar is, of course, love. That's all there is. That is God. Eternal flame of love is God. Love is God, and God is love. That is the way it is. So don't forget who you really are. Just because you're walking and talking through this earth, don't forget who you really are. You're embodiments of love. Love is God. So let's share this love in an Om for peace throughout this world, that all beings may be happy, healthy, and may all their needs be met and all their dreams come true that are good dreams, not nightmares. May there be peace on earth and loving cooperation through all humanity and all other beings. In the golden age of love that Swami has come to share with us in 3 incarnations, for 300 years, 100 more to come. Oh. Visualize the world, a golden light of love, like a golden globe of love, and all that come to mind. Visualize them as the golden beams of love that are encased in their human forms. See them as they really are. Everyone, everywhere, everything, all the time. Oh. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Everyone, golden hearts of love, sharing and carrying that love, sharing that love, caring in love with each other throughout the world, throughout the universe, and beyond. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Peace, 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 peace on earth. Peace, peace, peace throughout the universe, for all the universe. Yay, Saira. Thank you, God. So when you're ready, come back, open your eyes, and be free and happy. Made a great transition tonight. Joel made a great effort, great transition. I know Swami's happy, and I know Swami will definitely let you know personally how happy he really is with you, each and every one of you. So I'll stick around. It's late, I know, but I'll stick around for another 15 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever it is, that if you want to ask any questions or share anything, you're welcome to do so.
Thank you, brother. That was phenomenal.
Thank you. Bye, Prasada.
Hey, Sairam, Brother Al.
Sairam.
I have a question and a short sharing to see your thoughts. So my question is, when you breathe at the end, do you breathe back in through the chest or the top of the head?
So you breathe back in through the top of the head, through the chest. So you're coming back in through the top of the head, right? And you're coming down through the chakras of the throat, the forehead, throat, into the chest. And it's best to live life in the heart center.
Okay.
If you live life in the throat center, it becomes very detached. It's very hard to relate to your relatives and friends.
Mm.
And if you live life here, very dangerous, because it's like a celestial circus out there.
Oh.
You know, then you start seeing everything, and that's like a 3-ring circus that you can get very lost in very easily.
Huh.
You live life in the top of your head, you won't be living life here on earth for very much longer.
Oh, that's very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Keep it open, but don't keep your consciousness at the top of your head while you're walking and talking through the world.
And my sharing was in the portion where you got people in that quote unquote were enemies or had hurt you and you had to forgive them. Some strange people from my past came into the consciousness, and
Yeah.
almost immediately after, I came into dominance. So
Ah,
it became very clear that I had to forgive myself.
beautiful.
So
Yes.
the thing is that I knew the general area uh, that was figuring in this vision because of the people who came in.
Hmm.
But what exactly the details were for me to forgive myself were not clear.
Hmm.
So I just, I knew I didn't want it and it was scary. So I just gave it to Swami. I said, this you have to take care of.
It's beautiful. And that's the beginning. That's the unconscious cleansing process, subconscious cleansing as well. Forgiveness of ourselves is part of that, what we have to forgive ourselves for. But listen to this very carefully. Not for a moment were you the doer, ever, in any lifetime, and never in this one. God does everything all the time, in everyone, everywhere. And when we think we're the doer, that's just the ego. And then we feel guilty, ashamed, we feel humiliated, or we feel, some remorse. That's the ego. That's all the ego. And it's so subtle. Oh, I'm such a spiritual, I'm on my spiritual path. I say Swami's name all the time, and I forgive myself. I know I was bad. I know I was this. Who is it that was bad? Who is it that's ever bad? How can God be bad? We were never not God. God, Baba, God did everything, every time, all the time. Now it comes when we have dull consciousness, it comes out tamasically. So it hurts others. But if we realize God's doing it, but the body and the mind are dull, so it came out this particular way, it was the Tamas Guna. If it came out passionately, oh, I'm establishing greatness for myself. I have money in the bank. I have a house. I have a car. I have this. I have that. That's all rajas, right? Then, but it's still God doing it, but it's coming out rajasically. So we think we're something. We're great. So now the ego is supported by rajas. Then the ego can be supported by sattva, because we think, oh, I'm so spiritual. Swami loves me. I feel so close to Swami. Oh, I'm doing sadhana, sadhana, sadhana. Yeah, well, Ramana Maharshi did 45 minutes of sadhana. I've been doing 30,000 years of sadhana. What's going on here? So the fact is, we could think like that. That's sattva guna. I'm so spiritual. Something like that. Still ego. Be beyond the 3 gunas. How to be beyond the 3 gunas? It's pretty easy. Sharanagati, Swami, you are the doer of everything. There is nothing here. It was a total illusion. It's a dream that I wake up from. When I go to sleep at night, this daydream disappears. When I wake up from the night sleep, this night dream disappears. When I go into deep sleep, only you appear, but I don't know it. So, Swami, let me know it. Please show me, guide me. You are the only reality. I am that I am. And I believe what you say is true. So I'm sticking to that with love all and serve all. Now you are beyond the 3 gunas.
Hmm.
So who is it that you felt, oh, I have to forgive myself? Who is it inside of you that you actually have to forgive? Only the mind.
Hmm.
And believe me, if at the end, by the end of your life, the mind has not given up, Swami will make sure he dissolves it. That's for sure. You know, some people, they do spiritual sadhana to dissolve the mind. Sometimes Swami gives Alzheimer's to dissolve the mind. Because that person inside knows they are not the mind.
It's going.
That's extremely powerful, and it certainly made me cry. I have to say that. Thank you.
Swami's grace. It's always Swami's grace.
I have a stupid question.
Well, I have been stupid in many ways, so let's join together in stupidity.
Last time you talked about there are so many people who are really serious about their sadhana in this group. And I sat there and I thought about it and I thought about it and I thought about it and I realized I'm not really serious about my sadhana. I just don't want to be separated from Swami. I just want to be with Swami all the time. I don't care about sadhana. I just want to be with Swami. So what does that mean?
You are a true bhakta. You are an absolute bhakta. So there was a bhakta. His name was Prahlada. I don't know if it was Prahlada. Who was the person that was the guy, the Dhobi, and he had a great guru? It might have been Prahlada. I'm not sure. And what he did was he was washing the clothes, and he was considered by all of the other disciples as really dumb, not being able to comprehend.
That's what I mean.
Great truths of Jnana. Okay, so he washed the clothes and he just dedicated that washing to God. He was washing the clothes for God. He was his guru. His guru was a true Sadguru, a real, absolutely realized being, full manifested one with the absolute. And he was washing the clothes. And then he returned from washing the clothes, walking on the water. Didn't even know he was.
Ooh.
And when he got to the guru said, "You have surrendered to me completely in the most loving way. You are free. You are one with me, with the unmanifest, with the absolute, one with God." And he was totally free. And he was the first one amongst all the disciples that guru had to be free. You are true bhakta. He is true bhakta.
I hope so.
You know that.
You want to show people Hilda's picture right above you?
I know if people want to see, well, we're out of the formal. Do I have that permission, Sai-Prasan?
I think so.
Okay. See this? Okay, I'm going to show you Hilda's picture. I have some of them.
Looking at it the whole time.
Right, that. See that?
Mhm.
It was over your shoulder the whole time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wasn't
Yes.
supposed to show that. This is my puja table. I'll show you. This is my puja table. Here's where this is one. And here's another picture of Hilda. If you can see it. That was Hilda when she took a passport picture.
Mm.
And actually, then somebody took a laser photo of her as she was also posing for the passport. That was the laser photo. All that compassion. But here's Yogi Ram Sarakumar, who told me, Sai Baba is your Sadguru, follow him. But I already knew he was my Sadguru, but we were having a little bit of a tough time. He wanted me to get married. I wanted to go in a cave in the Himalayas. I was so afraid of getting married. I thought I would lose all my spirituality. I'd been 15 years a yogi, supposedly. Swami laughed. Yogi, bogey yogi, because I like chocolate cake, ice cream. Still do. So, okay. Anybody else? So, have a few minutes. Want to share anything that you experienced tonight, or say anything, or ask a question? Complete silence. You must all be liberated now. I want to thank you all for really practicing meditation with ardent devotion and increased intensity and effort. All these things Swami absolutely notices, and that is the result of that will be and is grace. This is how we get free. We make our best efforts and we then say, Swami, I've made my best efforts and I'm continuing. Please, Swami, grant me the grace of love, oneness, full enlightenment. I only am here for that. Only here for God. That's all. Everything else is yours. Everyone else is yours. It's all you're doing. That's all there is. Grant me a grace, Swami, please. I am so grateful for all your love. He will.
Thank you, brother. I request Sister Veena to just help us close this session. Thank you so much for the extra time and a wonderful one. Sister Veena.
Sai Ram. First, I just want to once again thank Brother Al for all the time and everything else that you give us. And we have no words of gratitude. And thank you, Sai Prasanna, for your commitment to helping all of us. Swami, we offer our deepest gratitude. Really, we have no words to express to you our love and gratitude for all your grace that is constantly with us, and much more so felt during such powerful, powerful sessions. We are grateful you're helping us learn and holding our hand as we move forward to realizing you in us as love, unconditional love. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you.
Right
Sai.
on. Please convey our wishes to Sister Roseanne too. We missed her today, but I hope she's doing well.
I will certainly do that. Thank you so much, Cypress.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
brother. We'll see you next month again.
Okay. Sai.
Hi, Saira.
Thank you.
Thank you.